All right, let's talk about Hollywood. You see that iconic sign and you probably think you know the story, right? Well, I'm going to bet the real history behind it is not at all what you're picturing.
So, take a look at this. On one side, you've got Hollywood land, and on the other, just Hollywood. What's the big deal? Well, one was basically a temporary billboard for some new houses. The other, it became a symbol for an entire global industry. How in the world did that happen? That's the story we're diving into.
So, to really get it, we have to rewind, way back. Before the movie stars, before the glamour, our story actually starts with, well, with a bunch of farmland.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty wild to think about, isn't it? Before all the glitz and the red carpets, this place, the future center of the entertainment universe, was just a quiet little farming town. Seriously, no studios, no big movie premieres, just, crops and a lot of empty space.
And here's the first big shocker. That sign, the one everyone knows, it had absolutely nothing to do with movies. Not a thing. It was put up in 1923 for one simple reason, to sell houses in a new neighborhood called Hollywood Land. It was literally a real estate ad, meant to be temporary, and somehow it became this accidental, permanent icon.
Okay, so how does a housing ad in the middle of nowhere transform into the dream factory for the entire planet? Let's get into how that absolutely incredible shift actually went down. And things happen fast. I mean, look at this. In 1910, they filmed the first movie out here. Just a little over 10 years later, boom, the Hollywood Bowl opens. Then, by 29, the movie business is already big enough to be giving itself awards, the first Oscars. And then in 61, the red carpet becomes a thing. The speed of this whole transformation is just mind-blowing. So what does that industry look like today? Well, the sheer scale is kind of hard to wrap your head around. We're talking about 500 to 600 major movies coming out of the Hollywood system every single year. I mean, that's an insane amount of content, and it's shaping what the whole world watches.
And of course, with that many movies comes money. Lots of it. All that production translates into billions with a B of dollars every year. It's not just an industry at this point, it's a massive economic engine.
But Hollywood's power isn't just about the number of movies or the cash it brings in. It's bigger than that. It's about creating a whole culture, this mythology of glamour. So, how did they do it? How did they build these traditions we all know?
Well, for one, you've got the Walk of Fame. Just think about that for a second. There are more than 2,700 stars cemented into those famous sidewalks. Each one is like a little permanent monument to someone who made it big.
And what I find really cool is who can get a star. It's not just for actors, not by a long shot. You've got musicians, directors, and get this, even fictional characters. Mickey Mouse has a star, Godzilla has a star. It really tells you a lot about how broad Hollywood's idea of a star actually is. And then there's the Oscars. I mean, this comparison really says everything you need to know. The first one, back in 1929, it was a small private dinner that was over in 15 minutes. 15 minutes! Now today, it's a huge, multi-hour global event that millions and millions of people tune in to watch. That's not just growth. That's taking a little industry get-together and turning it into a worldwide cultural event.
And of course, you can't even think about the Oscars without picturing the red carpet. It first showed up in 1961, and since then, it's become so much more than just a walkway. It's the global stage for fashion, for celebrities. It's basically the official kickoff for any huge premiere or event.
All right, for this last part, we need to talk about the grand illusion. Because if Hollywood is good at one thing, it's making things seem like something they're not. So it's time to pull back the curtain and separate the myth from the reality.
So that brings up a really important question. When you watch a Hollywood movie, where do you think it was actually filmed? In Hollywood, right?
Well, the answer, surprisingly, is probably not. The truth is, a whole lot of the scenes, maybe even most of them, that we think of as Hollywood aren't filmed there at all. Hollywood has become more of a brand name than an actual place where they make movies. Yeah, filming actually happens all over the planet now. Productions go wherever they can get tax breaks or find the right scenery, places like Vancouver in Canada, London, Atlanta, you name it. A Hollywood movie is really a global product, pieced together from locations that are miles and miles away from that famous sign.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. If Hollywood isn't really a place anymore, but more of an idea, a global machine for telling stories a certain way, what does that really say about the power of those stories? And who gets to decide which ones get told?